Hey everybody, welcome to the Titanic Deck Tech channel. Today we're just going to be checking out some cards I got in the mail today for our Commander deck that we've been working on. Mary, the Scholar of Antiquity, is our Commander, obviously. Probably the most fun you can have in Gruul colors. I think by maybe a long shot in my limited experience. But Mary is a one colorless, red, green, elf artificer. Tap and untap non-token artifact you control. Add a forest. Tap 2 untapped. Sorry about my dog. She just barks for no reason sometimes. It's totally fine. And then tap 2 untapped non-token artifacts you control. Exile the top card of your library and you play it this turn. So you can also utilize your non-token artifacts for some card advantage too, which is nice. The only problem is that you have to play it that turn. So sometimes it can get a little awkward if you exile something with like a big mana cost and you don't get to play it. That's kind of feels bad, but it's also kind of like just a form of gambling too. So always something to kind of explore, and I like this card a lot. Really, the first couple turns can be really explosive here. So that is our Commander, and what we're going to be opening these is we're going to be finding some dragons, I think, in here. So hopefully we'll get a couple here. So I'll just go ahead and just snap it open. Just open it up here. Oh, this is loaded. Okay, sweet. Very exciting. So, yeah, these, I don't know if I did do expedited shipping. I guess I did. I think I did. I did a pretty big order, I think, so. I came pretty fast, actually. I'm very excited. So we're probably gonna be seeing a lot of dragons in here. Yeah, baby. Oh, yeah. So this is it, huh? So here's our first, the Ancient Bronze Dragon. It's just a 7/7 flying monstrosity. And whenever it deals combat damage to a player, roll a d20. When you do, put X 1+1/+1 counters on each of up to 2 target creatures, where X is the result. So probably the best thing I'm going to be doing is probably equipping like these non-legendary creature dragons with like a Blade of Selves. Dealing combat damage to a player and really swinging games quickly. It's going to be helpful to have these things like have haste too. And with haste, we're going to be able to do that with Lightning Greaves, Swiftfoot Boots, and there is also a 3-mana artifact. It grants haste to your flying creatures if you spend mana to use it when you cast the creature card. So that's just another way to give us our dragon's haste. So we're definitely like looking for that kind of haste advantage. So that will be very important regardless of if we have a Blade of Selves or not. Okay, so this is going to be probably like our lowest mana cost creature. It kind of like takes the place of like an Elder Gargaroth, where it's just a very strong creature that comes down for 5. I mean, you don't get necessarily card advantage here, but you get kind of snowball-y effects with this by playing the Dragon Tribal. As more dragons enter the battlefield, you can start dealing more damage to your opponents. This card will go very well with the Broodmother Dragon, and also will go well with Dragon Tempest. It's just like another stack effect. Kind of it goes along with that. It's just pinging for damage. There's some other cards in this deck that will create like dragon tokens too. So there's a couple different ways for the dragons to kind of keep on coming into the battlefield. So that's going to be pretty nice for us. There is the Dragon Broodmother. So fantastic. That's kind of like what we're looking for here. Is the with the Scourge of Alcus, is this on each of our opponents' upkeep have another dragon come in, and we want to kind of see that interaction And this as a standalone card is just going to be fine too, because it's just going to bring in extra dragons and give us that like kind of additional board presence. So we do have some dragon synergies other than the Scourge of Valkus, like I said, the Dragon Tempest, and we also will be getting the Invasion of Tarkir. So that's when that battle flips, then each of your dragons that attacks deals 2 damage to any target. So that's going to be a very nice kind of interaction for us. Here's the Scourge of the Throne. This is like our extra combat card. So we're going to be just attacking the opponent with that has the most amount of life, and it will get this ability once per turn. If it does, if it is attacking the player with the most life, or tied for the most life, then tap all the attacking creatures. After this phase, there's an additional combat phase, so just an absolutely absurd card. And it also gets a counter when it doesn't do that, and it attacks the opponent with the most life. Here's another, oh, they organized these cards so well, like they knew what I was doing with this, or at least thought I had an idea of what I was going to be doing with this. So this is the Hellkite Charger, so this is like just an extra combat step for us. When we do pay the 5 and 2 reds, so it's going to be another way for us to just have extra combats. So there you go, and it has haste, which is nice. So that's upon attacking, you can pay 7 to get your extra combat. Here's the Udvara Hellkite. So probably the beefiest dragon, and this is exactly where I want to be. I want to be at the 8 CMC for my dragons. I believe this is like a 6. We just go back here. These are all 6s. These are pretty low, I'd say, like in terms of the ancient bronze. We definitely want to be there. That's kind of like our ideal. So we'll see how some of these cards go, but really I wanted like the very high power leveled, 7 and 8s. That's kind of where Mario wants to be on like turn 4, just being to be able to cast those really big, strong creatures. So Udvara Hellkite, whenever a dragon you control attacks, create a 6/6 red dragon creature token with flying. Fantastic. Here's a Tarka. This is the double strike dragon. So whenever a dragon control attacks against double strike until end of turn, perfect. Here's our invasion here. Fantastic. Okay. So there's the new invasion card there. Very sweet. And we're going to be dealing the damage from our hand by revealing dragons X. You get an additional damage for each dragon card you reveal, the number of it you reveal, and then by default it does 2 damage to any target. Of course, this is what we're really all about, is the flip. So when we do flip this battle after we deal 5 damage to it, it becomes the Divine Thundermaw. Has flying trample. Whenever a dragon you control attacks, it deals 2 damage to any target. So just really good value. Any dragon that is attacking is going to be dealing damage. So really we're looking for all these snowbally effects, and just to really kind of drain and burn our opponents out, and also stomp them in the air. So you're going to get like 3 different kind of angles here. So I mean, just to kind of like organize this, like we're going to have basically the drain. So that's like our Scourge and our Dragon Broodmother there. And then I would say that this kind of goes hand in hand with that, because it's like about the token generation, making the dragons. This is kind of where we want to be with that. Then we have our extra combats here. So those are these 2 here. The Hellkite Charger, the Scourge of the Throne. And then we'll just zoom in on this a little bit. Perfect. Yep. Just move it over. Nice. And then for our just overall like mega beaters, we're gonna have like our Ancient Bronze Dragon, the Tarka, the Udvara Hellkite, and the old Gnawbone, which we kind of haven't really gone over, but whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, create that many treasure tokens. So like seeing this card, like it just kind of scares you, like when it's on the battlefield. Like you're just hoping someone removes it, because if it doesn't get removed, it's a big problem. It's any of your creatures that deal combat damage, you create that many treasure tokens. So this card that going along with like the Hellkite Charger, you know, any of the things that have like the extra combats, it just kind of gets out of hand, you know. So it's just kind of like a combo that kind of repeats itself. So this card is definitely a combo piece. So that's Old Nabo. It's a 7/7 flying creature as well. So there's that, and then Blade of Sails. This is like a perfect Mario card. You know, you see these cards and you're like, man, that card seems like pretty wicked in the commander deck, and I think it is. I mean, I'll see how it goes, but I just like looking on this card on the internet, kind of like, you know, considering it for this deck. I think it's really good because yeah, you'll be able to pay this pretty early for its 2, and it can act like a mana rock for a while. You could be like tapping it for mana. What's also great about these equipments is with Mary, they actually pay for them for their equip cost. So to a degree, so the equip is 4 here, but you can also tap this and then pay additional 3 to count for the 4. So it can actually tap itself to equip, which is just fantastic. I really like that about equipments. I think that's probably one of the best parts about Mary is the equipment and how you can utilize the equipments to actually pay for the equipment cost. So for the Blade of Sails, equipped creature has Myriad. So we're going to basically wanting to attach this to our non-legendary creatures. For instance, like the Udvar Hellkite would be a great target. Okay. So for instance, we equip the Udvara here. And of course, if this would be under the consideration that it was ready to start attacking. Perhaps it had some Swiftfoot boots on it, or maybe it was just, you know, coming out and hasted. Through, like, for instance, that our dragon artifact that does that. So it's ready to go. The Blade of Sails is attached to it, and so whenever a dragon you control attacks, create a 6/6 red dragon creature token with flying. So I'm kind of curious. Like, I would like probably look at the interactions with this. I'm not quite sure that you would get. I'm pretty sure you'd probably stack the triggers. So once it is perhaps I think you at least would get like just if you had the Blade of Sails attached to any dragon, you would definitely get the 3 Udvar Hellkite tokens. You get the 6/6, but I'm kind of curious if you were to, for instance, attach a Blade of Sails, and I'm kind of curious how you could stack the put it on the stack so that those Udvar Hellkites would basically multiply the amount of tokens that were created. I wonder if that's something that you could do. So that's what's always fun about Magic and the rules is that you can kind of discover different things, and I think that's probably perhaps potentially possible. That I think it's kind of like I did read about like a Terror of the Peaks interaction, where how they basically I think it is possible that like the Udvara would probably get 3 tokens. Would get the 3/6, or if you had the Udvara and you had the 2 other Udvaras come out, the Udvara would see the 2 other Hellkites. You would get the 6/6s for them, and then the Udvara Hellkites would each see themselves. So you'd probably get an additional token from them. So it'd probably be 4. You'd probably get 4 triggers, or yeah, I think so. I think, or maybe I think you get 3 triggers, one of which would be the 2 6/6s, but this is just from the Udvara attacking. I'm just, you know, saying that it could get a little crazy if you had a lot of dragons attacking. But I think the overall you'd to keep it simple is the Udvara. This Udvara would see the 2 Udvaras that would be coming in, and then the Udvaras would each see themselves, plus whatever else was attacking. That's potentially possible, but perhaps not. So that's kind of an interesting Magic question for a judge, but I mean, I think they'd at least see themselves once they were created. So, and attacking. So yeah, that's really interesting. Very interesting. Yes, that's why this is fun. Okay, so maybe not the best example, but I do know the Blade of Sails on, like, for instance, like an ancient copper dragon or an ancient bronze dragon. That would definitely be getting us our damage counters and our treasure counters. So there's that. All right, we're gonna keep going and see what else. These might just be like my Orzhov lands, but there might be some like additional dragons in here, so we'll check it out. I got some additional lands from my Greasefang deck. So let's see what we got here. Okay, more dragon stuff. So, Dragonstorm, I think I'm willing to try it. Like I think that's exactly where this deck wants to be honest, is like some really over-the-top spells. So Dragonstorm, search your library for a dragon card and put it into play, then shuffle your library. It has Storm. So whenever you play this spell, copy it for each spell that you played for it this turn. I think that's exactly where this deck wants to be. Wants to be like kind of really over the top. So Dragonstorm looks really good here. So just put it right here, that's fine. Got a little bit of a shadow. I don't know what it's from. Maybe from one of these. Oh, from this probably. Of course. All right. So let's see here. So we got our Dragonstorm here. And now let's get into the cards. So just like some other kind of wild dragons here. 7 is like pretty decent for this Dracuseth. So has flying. Whenever Dracuseth Maw Flames attacks, it deals 4 damage to any target and 3 damage to each of up to 2 other targets. So definitely just bringing the pain. And it's going to be another beater / burn, kind of a burn card. And then Hellkite Igniter. This is really the card that I was kind of really excited about for Blade of Cells. When I was thinking of like how fun it would be to copy and Hellkite Igniter twice over, and then just beefing both of them up, pumping in like extra mana into them, just to like give them exo, because there's so many artifacts in this deck, and they're definitely going to be just even amongst the treasures too. So I just imagine all the treasures that are being made and all the artifacts on the battlefield. I really think by paying 1 in a red, you're going to definitely have the potential for having 8 to who knows what with all the treasures that you could create. Maybe 8 power to 20 power, for the X. So putting something on like a Blade of Cells and just kind of, it could be our finisher. So this is a finisher, okay? So the Hellkite Igniter is definitely a finisher. Definitely one of our finishers. So let's go ahead and put this here. And let's put it there so you can see it. It's fine. And then this one is another artifact synergy, Chiscoria, the Forged Tyrant. It's like probably our most expensive card, but it does have affinity for artifacts. And like I said, amongst all the artifacts that we're going to be playing, this is going to be very easy to cast. Flying Haste, whenever Chiscoria Forged Tyrant attacks, exile the top 5 cards of your library. You may cast an artifact spell from among them this turn. If you do, it has infinity for artifacts. We have plenty of artifacts, and it'll have infinity, so it's going to basically be a free spell. So something like this, going into like a Dragonstorm, could be pretty wild. So there's that. Savage Ventlaw. This is a card that I'm gonna kind of be considering. I'm just gonna play the deck, how it goes, and kind of see what spots I have open and what I don't. But I do think this could be good. It's definitely a combo piece with like our Hellkite Charger, because it just basically keeps on providing us extra combat steps. It's kind of like a win condition. So Ashley gave me 2 of those. So that is the shipment. So I think what we'll do is we'll just I did have some spots open to kind of start sleeving things up. So just kind of see how this goes. See where we're at with our deck. I definitely know what cards I'm wanting to have an instant spot in the deck. So I'm just gonna kind of go from there. Definitely know I want the invasion. The new cards are great. Okay. Nice. Okay, so there's these ones here. Definitely want the Chiscoria, these 3. Is a priority. Woodfire Hellkite. I think it would be really fun to play the Cheese Goria and like attack with it and be lucky enough to like hit like a Portal of Phyrexia. That'd be just so sick. I just know it'd be just so disgusting. So I'm kind of looking for that. That's gonna be like my worst possible, I think, is like a Chiscoria hasted into, oh god, it already has haste. This card already has haste. It's disgusting. So what does it have to do? It just has to attack. Wow, that's busted. Yeah, that's absolutely busted. I think these extra combat cards are also pretty busted. So we're gonna get them sleeved up. Okay, Charger, Scourge. Definitely want to support that interaction, so I do believe this Savage Vent Ball is definitely going to be coming in with a spot, quick spot. Just all in all, I have heard that the Atarka just ends games, so I would definitely want that. The one that gives double strike to all the dragons. This Ancient Bronze Dragon seems very strong. Good with our Blade of Cells. See how we're doing here. So we still have 4 spots left, so it looks like I'm gonna have to make a cut here. And it's gonna be tough. I do think maybe the Drakuseth is so good though. I hate this. You know, because these seem to be working well together. Scourge of Valkus and the Dragon Broodmother. You know, the question is do I want to be here with this deck? Do I want to be kind of at this 5 CMC spot, you know, and maybe just by reading the cards we can kind of, you know, evaluate them. So the triple red is a little hard to play for this deck, I would say. So that might be a setback. Do we make a lot of dragons? I don't know. I don't know if we make enough dragons for this card. I mean, obviously the Dragon Broodmother, it says, you know, we would be making some dragons, and you know that does kind of go with this kind of plays into the battle a little bit to a degree, right? So God, it's tough, man. It's really tough. I mean, they can really, so for instance, if I had, let's just, you know, think this out. For instance, if I went maybe, some of the conditions went right and I had like, let's just say I just had like 2 dragons on the battlefield and a Scourge was one of them. And then I happened to draw a Dragon Broodmother and I played it. So when it ETB'd, that would be 3 damage to any target. Then next turn, 4 damage to the next opponent. Next turn to the opponent, 5 damage. Then to the right, 6. 6 damage. That's pretty good. That's really good actually. That's a lot of damage, and that's a lot of control. So I think that's a yes. That's a yes. These are going in. I think that's kind of a no-brainer actually. Okay, so yeah, that's some good board control. They're good flyers. They make more dragons. Yeah, I think that's where we want to be. So now we're here. So, I mean, let's compare some of these other 7 CMC, I think, maybe. You know, even the Savage Vent Maw, I mean, I think I'm going to make enough mana with Mary. I think that's kind of like the point. Like, does a 4/4 for 6, like, really make me happy? I mean, I'll have to test, but really, I think I do still want to be in these, like, higher CMC powerful cards, you know, like, I'd rather have this on my turn 4 than this in my turn 4. Even though this does have a very powerful attacking trigger. Yeah, this is tough. So, Track you, Seth. Has to attack. We definitely can provide that kind of ability to it. That is kind of bad that these both don't have ETBs, really. It's kind of sad. Most of the dragons don't have ETBs, to be honest. I think I'm really glad that we really went for the Scourge and the Dragon Broodmother. You really get kind of that value out of it. Same with Old Gnawbone. I mean, it just like, it's not immediate, but like there's a great chance that you're gonna connect and make treasures with your attackers. Ancient Bronze Dragon, I like the fact that it's not a legendary, so it goes well with the Blade of Selves. So I think this is too hard of a decision, really. Maybe I have to just kind of see what else is going on in the deck, kind of decide here. I am still waiting for a Sarkhan. It's going to take the place of the Chandra. I do already have this Skyline Despot in the deck, so this is kind of gives us a card in the ETB upon our upkeep, so I kind of like that card. It's kind of nice. I'm going to probably just cut this Savage Bent Maw, actually. I think it's kind of an easy choice for now. So we'll get in the Blade of Selves here. Dracuseth. And Dragonstorm. Alright, so I mean, that's pretty much the gist. So let's shuffle these up. Let's see what happens. We'll just play it out like as if we were in our local LGS and just sitting down for a game. I plan on making more videos over the summer. I do have a break in a couple days. School will be out, thank God. And I can have a couple weeks off where I can just chill. So that is gonna be great. But this deck, I did look it up. It's like, you know, pretty good dime now. I mean, I do have some, I've definitely, you know, built the deck up from scratch. Started off from a historic brawl deck on MTG Arena, and kind of just evolved from there, from me getting to Commander, going out to like an LGS, and actually building my first Commander deck, and this was my first Commander. So now I have three decks, including Maria, and definitely got all the bells and whistles here. Definitely had some different like kind of ins and out, and I've kind of made some changes here and there. I do think I know what I want to actually cut. I actually am going to get rid of a Felwar Stone for the Savage Vent Maw. There's no doubt about it. I can like kind of lose some of these. I have plenty of artifacts in here. And you know, a Felwar Stone, I mean, I think the Signet and the Soul Ring are going to be just fine. And I have another ramp enabler in here too, the Carmelian Orb of Dragonkind, which will actually give our dragons haste. I think that we'll see if the Swiftfoot Boots and the Lightning Greaves will be enough to kind of like keep us. There's some of these dragons like kind of linked up from the buy, but here we go. Yeah, I think Lightning Greaves, the Orb, and the Swiftfoot Boots will just be fine. I think they'll just be fine. So what kind of decks do you all play? I mean, what's the good stuff, man? I mean, there's a lot of kind of crazy commanders out there. I'd say probably I have kind of like experienced a little CEDH at my LGS to a degree, or, you know, quote unquote CEDH. Kenrith is a pretty good commander. I've seen kind of pop off with like Survival of the Fittest. I've seen like kind of like in the Dockside Extortionists. I've kind of seen those combos. They're pretty wicked. But Mary, you can play a lot of spells in this deck pretty fast. You can kind of have a strong position. I mean, I definitely say that this deck can hold its own, and I think there's some good components here, and you'll definitely be having some fun games with no matter what the power level is of your pod. All right, so just do a couple more shuffles here. I think like probably the best card in this deck is the Great Henge. I think so. That card is just something you want to see, like even in your opener, you know, you just want to see it. You just know you're going to be drawing like so many cards with that card. You just have a good chance of winning. I like the Hope of Girapur too. That's kind of a nice tech card I have in here. Kind of is really good in the early game if you can draw that and start like hitting opponents, you know, on a key turn where you think you might need to sack it to maybe avoid a board wipe. I think it's a fantastic card. It really is amazing because it's just a 1-drop. It does its thing where we can use it for mana. And then, for instance, on like turn 3 or 4, when we suspect maybe an opponent is going to be, you know, capable of wiping the board, which is definitely a possibility, then we can go ahead and sack it and really try to focus in on that opponent and take him out, like ASAP. So it's like just kind of like the identification process. It's kind of like a learning curve. I think it's just a fantastic game. I really like the mystery of it. I don't think we need a cut, but maybe we'll, just in case, like, you know, so we were just imagining like we were really there, huh? All right, so let's see what we draw here. Oh, Aggravated Assault. Okay, so if we had like 2 lands here, this would definitely be a keep. Oh, that's unfortunate. We didn't draw any land at all. Where is it all? Yeah, it's like gotta be there somewhere, right? I do play 38 lands in this deck. So I think it's like at 36 basics and 2 multi-face cards lands. So 38 total. The multi-face cards being actually the Turn Timber Symbiosis and Shatterskull Smashing, which they can be shocked in for 3 life as red or green sources untapped, so that's kind of nice. I do have the Mycosynth Gardens in here too, which is a colorless land that you can pay a certain amount of mana to copy artifacts that you have on the battlefield, so super cool card also. And we have some really good artifacts to copy. We have like the swords amongst some other ones, so let's go ahead and just draw. Okay, so there's the Hope of Girapur we talked about, so that's the one cast flying artifact. Until end, sacrifice Hope of Girapur until next turn. Target player who was dealt damage by Hope of Girapur this turn can't cast non-creature spells. Really awesome. Just a fantastic card here. Okay, so this is about as good as it gets because we have, so far we have the 1-drop with the forest, and then we have a potential 2-drop with a Gold Vein Pick. So I will, if we do draw land of here, oh god, a Mox Amber, that's, oh my god. Guys, I think you could actually keep this as a 1-lander. Okay, so this is why. Because this is like one of the sweetest interactions that like I can ask for in this deck. Because Mox Amber will tap mana for any mana among legendary creatures and planeswalkers you control. I do believe the Hope of Girapur would produce a colorless mana. So technically, you could have like this just act as you know, coming down and adding colorless. You know, in the meantime, I'll have to look that up, of course, but I'm pretty sure that's how it works. All right, so what are we gonna get? Please give me like a mountain. Hey, a Rockfall Vale. Okay, kind of sad. It's a slow land. That's so sad. An aggravated assault. So I think you would definitely be keeping this and just kind of rolling with it. I think it would be fine. I think we'd definitely be just going ahead and drawing for our turn. Fable of the Mirror Breaker here. It's quite a hand, man. Really. So it would just be like this. Go ahead and just drop these. I think it'd be fine. Unfortunately, no other 1-drops to kind of play here. And then we would go ahead and untap and draw. So this one is just a Hellkite Igniter. This would unfortunately become untapped, just like so. We would still have 2 colorless to go with, so we could go ahead and tap our Amber. I'm quite sure how this works. If it doesn't, maybe I would have mulligan, but I'm pretty sure that's how it works. And then Goldvine Pick. So pretty good start. And we're really hoping that we can, I think it would be, we have all the mana to produce Maria. So I think our next turn is going to be decent no matter what happens, but we're still hoping for a land. Of course, we want to hit our land drop. Okay, so it's commander plate, so that's actually not so bad. So let me show you how this kind of works here. All right, so what we would do is we would go ahead and cast Maria, okay? Just like so, we'd utilize our mana here, and Maria would come. Then we'd have, this is turn 3, so we'd still have our artifacts in place. So for Maria's effect, she can produce a green and a green for this by tapping. So technically 2 mana available here, how we would want to do this. I think what we'd want to do first is we'd want to go and tap the Goldvine Pick itself, tap it for mana, and then go ahead and put it on our Hope of Girapur. Just as so. We'd go ahead and swing on an opponent and make a treasure. So that would be basically providing us 2 mana available. We could then, because we attach with this, we would still have our treasure. So we would go ahead and play our commander plate. So really not the worst turn. I mean, now, the turn 4 is always huge for Mary, and you can see why, because once we come to turn 4, you can see basically we're going to have probably more mana than most people, unless they, have some really strong starts, like with, commander, whatever the hell that thing is called, the Commander Lotus or whatever, it produces 3 colorless mana. Commander Jewel? I don't know. I don't have the card. It's very expensive. Or a Mana Crypt or something of that nature, So let's see if our turn 4 would come. We kind of got mana screwed. I'm really serious. We did get mana screwed, which is unfortunate. I really have to shuffle these up a little bit more, but. And I'm not going to go dig with it either. Trust me. So, technically, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mana potentially. I think really where we probably would want to be in this turn, we'd probably want to get our Fable down to kind of like filter some of this out. I think that would probably be, because we're not, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, and we're probably going to be swinging with our Hope of Girapur too. So I think how this turn would go, maybe perhaps Maria could, I think maybe the priority is probably to get the plate on first. So we'd probably go ahead and tap the pick. That would be 3 here. Yeah, it's tough. They really got mana screwed. That's unfortunate. That's with Magic, you have to kind of think things over here. So perhaps we'd probably just go ahead and swing the Hope of Girapur at somebody, still make the treasure, kind of get that value. Consider maybe you know, if we had a dangerous player, maybe consider sacking it for non-creature spells. But it does have the gold vein pick on it, so that's kind of another thing too. We might have been swinging with a Maria as well, which would have been fine. And then we definitely would probably want to get the commander plate on. I'm quite certain. So if we did make a treasure, that'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we would still be able to equip the commander. So, because the commander plate taps for itself. And then we would go ahead and tap these two and sacrifice the treasure to play the Fable. I think that'd probably be our best bet. That's not the worst turn for. We really kind of, I think, wanted to hit our land drop there and played, for instance, like Hellkite, probably a Skyline Despot would be really nice, I think.